To keep our videos on and our microphones off during a meeting. We avoid crosstalk during a speech. We give plenty of feedback through Zoom chat or through physical means after a speech, if it is required. You're welcome to give your feedback and comments after every speech on the Zoom chat, but please avoid that during a speech. And now the live streaming is on, and let us invite the president, who happens to be myself because our president is on study leave. So I'll join you on the stage in a moment. All right. So everyone, welcome to 1046th meeting of Karachi Toastmasters Club. Today, we are carrying a certain theme throughout the meeting, and it is all about the golden age of Hollywood. It's all about old movies. We all love old Hollywood movies. It all brings back memories, although none of us would own up to being old enough to have actually watched those movies. I'll ask all of you, and you'll deny watching those movies, but all of us have watched those movies thanks to the magic of streaming and YouTube. So since there is no fresh Toastmaster, since there's no non-Toastmaster here, I will not introduce what is Toastmasters. Instead, I will call on the stage some very special people and ask for their comments. First, Toastmaster Daniel Tariq, who is joining the meeting as a Toastmaster for the first time. Please come on the stage.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel, and this is actually my third session today. Actually, I've just joined the Toastmasters Club. And speaking about old movies, I've got a few on my list too.
Oh, great!
Yeah. So anything? Actually, if I may suggest an old movie, it would be The Good Will Hunting. The Good Will Hunting. Yeah, yes. It's one of the remarkable movies I have ever watched, and I would prefer to everyone in Toastmaster Club that they should watch it.
Yes.
So.
Thank you so much. Welcome on board, Toastmaster Daniel. And there's just one slight problem with that. It's not an old movie. It's only old for people of our age. It's late 90s. So yeah, we only recently watched Good Will Hunting. And yes, you're right. It's one of the best movies I've seen in terms of its story, its characters.
I should have said the classic movie.
Oh yeah. So thank you so much, Master Daniel, and enjoy the meeting.
Yeah.
And next we have someone who has been our member for about a year now, or 8-9 months, and he has been participating very actively until he dropped off the radar. It turns out he was digging a tunnel from Faisalabad to Karachi, and today he has appeared. So everyone, please put your hands together for distinguished Toastmaster Risham.
Thank you, DTM Tala. It's always been a pleasure to be the part of Karachi Toastmaster Club, and I feel myself that I got a rebirth. Here is a Toastmaster, and here is the member of Karachi Toastmaster Club. So this badge, it was been pricking me since long that I should be the part of this meeting, because this is not only the club. This is the icon for the Toastmasters in Pakistan. And it's a pleasure for me to be here in person. It is a pleasure to be the Toastmaster and the member of Karachi Toastmaster Club. Tala was been saying regarding the Golden Days movies. I feel that those movies and a few Toastmasters, they are nearly the same. One Toastmaster and the second Toastmaster, both the classic movies, they just leave the room. Tala is not being in the room at this time, and the second one is the Toastmaster Imran Rana. So whenever I see these both persons, they are always the classic movies for me, because they have the positivity. They have a very, you can say in a very smart way, they are communicating everything which we used to have with those classic movies. So Talal, once you are not being here, you are being the icon for that classic movie, which is the theme. So actually the theme is you, nothing else. So gentlemen, Toastmaster is like a family. And being here in person first time, I feel that I am being a part of my family. So keep the good job. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Didi and Zishan. And thank you for equating me with 70, 80, 90-year-old movies. So next we have, we have Toastmaster Diana with us. She's as good as our member. She's a very regular participant. Toastmaster Diana, would you like to put your introduction in the chat box? We'd love to read it because we love everything that you write. We have Toastmaster Irfan Farooqi as well. So Toastmaster Irfan Farooqi, your introduction, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you very much for letting me speak here
Sir,
again.
we can't hear you actually.
I have
can you check
opened my mic.
We can hear her.
I have opened.
You're not muted, but you're not audible as well.
Somebody said.
Can you check your
I
setup?
think he's audible to the Zoom host. They must not have connected the speakers. KTC, we can hear him clearly.
If I talk
Can
now,
any other participant say something?
मैं कह रही हूँ, I'm talking.
Okay, I think, yeah. Just a second, there's a problem with our audio
Yes,
setup.
Yes, DTM Talha, we can hear him.
Yeah, apologies to Toastmaster Irfan. We forgot to do sound check today. So Toastmaster Irfan, please read.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was lying in my bed and will continue lying in my bed. Once I finish my introduce, I'll switch off my screen and again lie in the bed and listen to you. Today's topic is one of the most interesting topics for me. My favorite classical movies, Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin, from Jerry Lewis, Nutty Professor, Orderly, Disorderly, Orderly. But best movie which I would rate as the first from classical is Roman Holiday. My most favorite movie is Roman Holiday.
Sorry, which one, sir?
Roman Holiday.
Roman Holiday, right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And we will try our best to cover a reasonable spectrum of classic movies. I make no promises to cover all of them because there are too many of them, honestly. But all the, just a second. Let me just do a minor adjustment. So I believe I can bet that each and every one of us has a classic Hollywood movies or several. And the best thing about the classic movies that I notice is the quality of acting and directing. I believe that is peerless. It's a cliche to say that, they don't make them like it anymore. They do, actually. It's not that simple. It's just that there are so many options now in terms of content consumption, in terms of choices and variety, that it's difficult to keep up. And many classic movies slip by the wayside. So I maintain that classic movies are being made today as well. It's just that we cannot see them. We cannot appreciate them as easily as we could have the classic movies in the old times, because they were fewer and they were. So just a second, we will start. So I will invite myself as the Toastmaster of the day. And yes. So now I need to actually adjust my size because I bet, yeah. So everyone, Casablanca, one of the all-time favorite movies, Oscar-winning movie, a movie that is quoted and appreciated to this day. And in a way, we should be grateful for streaming. Why? Because for the first time in human history, all the art that has been created over the past century, whether it's movies or TV shows or music or even books, thanks to digital media and thanks to streaming, that is at our fingertips. So imagine, when I was growing up in the 80s, I had not heard of many classic movies except for the ones that got broadcast on PTV. And in the 90s, another channel came and started broadcasting more classic movies. But there was a difference. We had to watch the broadcast. In case of power outage, in case of signal loss, we missed those movies. And we never even knew where they stood in terms of standing. We just watched like greedy people because anything from Hollywood used to be a prize, a divine gift to all of us. Yes, I know that sounds very strange because many of you, most of you in fact, grew up with the idea of the internet and streaming and having 60, 70 channels. But there was a time when PTV used to be the only channel. In 1991, PTV2 started. We were in Quetta, and initially as a test transmission, PTV2 just displayed its logo with a very nice background music. And believe it or not, we used to stare at it for hours. So those were amazing times. So coming back to Casablanca, let me confess, I've heard about this movie my whole life. I only watched it last year. I had heard about it so much that I felt I'd already watched it. There was nothing new to discover. But that is not true. This movie is a treasure trove in terms of its acting performances, in terms of its dialogues. In fact, dialogues. Who can forget the dialogues that still form part of our culture today? Some of us repeat these sentences without knowing where they came from. For example, the very last sentence of the movie. Does anyone know what is the last sentence of Casablanca? Details for us, perhaps you would. All right, Toastmaster Irfan Faruqi, can you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have not watched Casablanca.
All right. Anyone from here? Oh, yes, of course. You took pains to remind all of us that you are so young. So the last sentence was, here's to the start of a beautiful friendship. Because the movie ends in heartbreak. The hero and heroine don't live on happily ever after. The heroine has to escape. But the hero says, don't worry, we'll always have Paris because they spent some good time in Paris. And then the theme of our today's meeting, Play It Again, Sam, that was also set to Sam, the musician, was playing their favorite song in the bar. So it's all nostalgic, all very sad, all melancholy, but at the same time, the message is it's better to have loved and lost rather than never to have loved at all. That is the takeaway that that is the message that I take away from Casablanca. And who can forget? Here's looking at you, Kate. So, unforgettable acting performances, an unconventional story, wonderfully inclusive, and historically respectful. It is one of the few movies that is not problematic even today. People don't find grounds to complain about it. So that is saying something about anything that's older than 20 years old. So that was our starting movie and the theme. Now we move on to our education session that is about education rather than movies. So we have a host of role players for today's meeting. Our first role player is our grammarian and word master, Toastmaster Umair. Toastmaster Umair, please explain your role and word of the day.
Assalamualaikum everyone. I am the grammarian and the word master of the next session. As a grammarian, I'll be noting about the word usage and the grammar used by the Toastmasters and the incomplete sentences and wrong pronunciations, and I'll submit the report at the end. The word of the day is plethora. Plethora is a large or excessive amount of something. For example, he had a plethora of reasons, none of which he needed to know. So I would encourage everyone to use this word during your speech and table topics. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Word of the day is plethora, and one usage would be that over the past few weeks we've had a plethora of speakers, and that is why we did not call role players for their introductions, but today we are, because today we only have 6 speeches. What has happened to you, 86? We used to have 10 and 11. Those were the golden days. Anyhow, returning, hoping for their return. And now we have our timer, DTM Saad Shoaib. He is on the way, but we all know what a timer does. The timer times all the speeches, all the table topics, and they show either these lights to the physical speakers or Zoom backgrounds. So it's green on the minimum time, yellow on the intermediate time, and red on the maximum time. For a 5 to 7 minute speech, it's 5 green, 6 yellow, and 7 red. For table topics, it's 1 green, 1.5 yellow, and 2 red. And for evaluations, it's 2, 2.5, and 3. And in addition, we will also time the role play reports. Ideally, all role play reports should end by 3 minutes, but we just politely show the red light. We don't do anything about it. Next, we have our counter, Toastmaster Faizan. Toastmaster Faizan, please explain your role. Please clap.
Thank you, Baba. And dear Toastmasters, Toastmaster guests, the purpose of a counter is to note the words and sound they are used as a brand and pause fillers by one who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for our used word, including and, where, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sound, including I will also note when the speaker repeat a word of phrase such as or this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker and use in this question. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Faizan. And next, we have our listener of the day, Toastmaster Mohammed Asghar. Toastmaster Asghar, please explain your role.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Since I heard that the listener's role is listener always makes you a better speaker, that is the reason I chose this role, and I will try what I call the tidbit of information during the whole session, and then in the end of the meeting, I will submit my report to the club. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Asghar. And request someone to speak again so that and test speakers, they should be working. Anyone, if you can speak, anyone online? Can you say something?
Yes, I'm always ready to say anything.
Oh, yes, we know. But and now, can you say something again?
Yes, what happened?
Okay.
We can hear you clearly.
Say it again.
Actually, our
DTM
speaker.
Tala, look who is here.
Well, actually,
Oh, yes.
I'm
Okay.
Should I mute myself now?
No, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And okay. Now, can anyone speak something?
Yes, DTM Talha.
Okay. Officially, our speakers are malfunctioning today because Imran is not in the meeting, so they have decided to go on a strike. Anyhow, Our next role player is the joke master, and he's a naturally funny person. I say to him that you don't need to tell a joke, just come on the stage and people will laugh, but in a good way, because DTM Zishan is a naturally funny person. So everyone, please put your hands together for DTM Zishan. Thank you.
Thank you, KTC, for this. I'm sure that we can use any language, am I right? So चूंकि मेरी वाइफ शी इज आल्सो डीटीएम और वो मेरी मीटिंग में बैठी होती हैं तो बड़ी देर से मुझे एक क्रेविंग है बीवियों से मुतालिक कोई जोक क्रैक करने के लिए सो आई हैव फ्यू जोक्स फॉर दैट शौहर ने बीवी को फोन करके पूछा बेगम साहब आज क्या बनाया बीवी पहले गुस्से में थी उसने कहा जहर बनाया है जहर तो उसने कहा मैंने आज लेट आना है आप खुद ही खाना खाकर सो जाइए बीवी और शौहर के दरमियान में एक मुकालमा होता है बीवी कहती है कि आपको कैसा लगेगा अगर 4 दिन के लिए मैं आपको नजर ना हो वैलेंटाइंस डे था और उसके ऊपर शौहर कहता है कि मुझे बहुत खुशी होगी और फिर बीवी पीर को भी नजर नहीं आई मंगल को भी नजर नहीं आई बुध को भी नजर नहीं आई जुमेरात को भी नजर नहीं आई जुम्मे को थोड़ी थोड़ी नजर आई जब आंख से सूजन शौहर की कम होनी शुरू हुई बाकी आप समझ गए हो द लास्ट वन डॉक्टर साहब के पास एक शख्स पहुंचता है और वो कहता है कि ये डॉक्टर साहब कहते हैं तुम्हारे चेहरे के ये 3 दांत कैसे टूटे हुए हैं वो कहता है डॉक्टर साहब क्या बताऊं बीवी ने रोटी पकाई थी और वो बहुत ही सख्त रोटी थी तो कहता पागल इंसान उसको रोटी खाने से मना कर देते कहता यही तो किया था थैंक यू
Thank you so much, DTM Dichan, for sharing your life stories as jokes. So, moving on with our theme. We are done with the role players. Oh, yes, there's a vote counter role as usual. Toastmaster Rabia, I think you took the vote counter role today.
Yes, I did. I will try my best.
All right. So, as a first step, please explain the rules.
I'll be floating a Google form at various occasions throughout the meeting after the prepared speech table topics, and I would encourage everyone to vote for the best speaker, facilitator, and so on.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rabia. The votes will be floated on KTC's WhatsApp group and also in the Zoom chat box. And
yes, if I manage to make them, inshallah.
Yeah, and you are all requested to vote. The vote counter cannot vote themselves, and anyone who is, of course, timing disqualified will not be a candidate. So before floating the votes, the timer will inform the vote counter whether everyone has qualified. Now, moving on with our theme again, and let's move to the second movie. Gone with the Wind, one of the most famous movies of all time and winner of 11 Oscar awards. One thing that you may not know about Gone with the Wind is that it is technically the highest grossing movie of all time. Why? Because if you convert its collections, which were back in the late 40s, early 50s, 60s, if you convert its lifetime collections to the dollar value today, it will exceed $5 billion. And yes, that also proves that dollar has lost its value as well. We are not alone. And of course, it won a plethora of Oscar awards. Yes, there are some racist undertones in this movie. There are some problems with this story. But here is what I believe. Everything is a product of its time. And this may sound very controversial, but no one actually wants to be racist or discriminatory. They're just acting according to what is prevalent in their time. They have no way of knowing that 70 years in the future, standards will change, thoughts will change, people will change, their thinking process will change. And whatever we are showing in this movie right now will not stand the test of time. I also believe that such considerations should not take away from the value of the art, no matter whether it's a book or a movie or anything else. Yes, you can criticize the elements that are not appropriate, but at the same time, the art here should be valued. So this has also one of the most famous lines of dialogue ever. And it's the very last line. Can anyone tell me what's the last line of Gone with the Wind? Anyone? All right. It is, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. So, yes, and that was the first time the word damn was used in a Hollywood movie or in any media openly. And that was also one of the most controversial things that happened. So imagine the times. Now, moving on to our first speech, it is by Toastmaster Faizan Zafar, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Rabia Zishan. Toastmaster Faizan, I will appreciate if you come on the stage and let Toastmaster Rabia know the details of your project as well, because I could not communicate with her. Thank you so much. Everyone, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Faizan.
Thank you very much. I am doing level 2, project 1, managing time.
No,
And
managing time. All right. All right.
the key is not spending time.
Okay, just give me a second. Toastmaster Rabia, I don't think you would have the evaluation sheet for this.
Not right now, but I can find out.
Would it be easy for you to download it?
Yes, yes. Yes, yes, I
All
do.
right.
I do.
All right. So what are your project objectives, Toastmaster Faizan?
I will show the objective of my project is to share the time management technique, how we utilize our time effectively, efficiently to achieve multiple things. It is a
Just give me a second. Let me start your time. Yeah.
better to be 3 hours to come earlier than late 1 second, said by William Shakespeare. And if I have 6 hours to chop the tea, so I first 4 hours given to chop the eggs by Abraham Lincoln. And I also shared few multiple words on there of the Stephen Covey in their books. The prioritizing the scheduling time on your scheduling app is not important. The schedule your priorities is a very important for you. The investing time instead of wasting time is better key to success. Today, dear Toastmasters, fellow Toastmaster, and distinct Toastmaster and guest, today my topic is time management. Time management is the ability to utilize our time in better way, effective way. And everyone from us want to be good, have a great jobs in growing organizations, and a valuable qualification and certification from university and institution. And we want to be good life partner, and we want to be as a good friends who support us in difficult time, and we want to be the associated good spiritual persons to perform better spiritual activities. We know the ideas of the people as a mentor, as we can better invest financially. But we normally we cannot do that things. Lot of people, we have seen a lot of people use our our ideas to be successful, but we fail to apply our ideas in our life because we fail to manage the time and manage the goal. Now I discuss with you my life relevant to time management. I feel the life during my life, I think three phases of the time management is very important. First is the planning, second one is the education, third one is monitoring, learning, and rewarding. When I was in the teenager life and during my education life and during my job life, I have make a lot of things to do. I have very curiosity to do multiple things like play the sports and do studies and do a lot of work with teenagers and doing jobs, doing studies, my higher education studies. I also want to do multiple things along with the studies. And doing job, I want a lot of skills with my job, but I failed to do it. Even I make the diaries, I make a lot of things, but I could not successful to do it because of I have not planned the things. We notice then that normally every life goals, every life task need to be planned well along with time. We have also seen that a lot of goals are interconnected, like the study, then jobs, then other things. Like you make a friends after that when you job, you involve social gatherings after marriage. So a lot of the things of the life is depend on the world. We need to plan the things well manner, and we also make a mistake on realistic feasibility. Our goal are unrealistic. A lot of goals we made out which is unrealistic or leveled by us, and it is not feasible for us to achieve all goals at a time. So we need to plan. For example, I do job, so I want to do jobs and I can study and I go with families with my along with. So I can skip my another activities like I work not involved in many social gatherings. I not work on personal development. Meantime, I not work on my financial investments because I focus on three things. And my thing when I work on these three things, my target is normally is that I should be make habit of it as I get a time. So do fourth one. And I also try to use digital things like apps, like any other things. So I get more time to move on fifth things. And another thing we can also use it there available resources. Like in investors, like the lot of asset management companies available in our countries. Lot of brokers are available. We use these resources for make our investment. So these things very good for us to do these things. Second thing is our education. Our educations of things. Normally we found that we have goals, but we are not know when to do it. We not just like pop up in my mind when it's started. So we use a lot of digital app like Todo is a very good app. You use for this work. You pop up this thing on time. You also use Google Keep for their things, and you multiple things can be used. The main thing is that we know that my skin pop up my skin, but I cannot do that thing that time because I know realizations. So I work on my realizations on that time. I need to work on realization. Realization not work. We need to work on visualization. Means these techniques we learn from multiple books on how to realize our things on the goals. So that is the main things of the effort. When you execute everything in the time and prioritize everything, you automatically come outcomes in life. Outcome is the better things for us. But monitoring is very good things to provide learning how to improve further. So we also need to be monitor ourselves. A lot of the apps available to this Asana will provide assessment of both weekly, monthly, yearly. So now that we need to learn our weaknesses from there, and we discuss with our mentors, our families, to how can improve on this topic. Then we move on rewarding. Rewarding is very important things. We will not reward ourselves. We will not satisfy ourselves. So we will not push ourselves to do more. So we need to reward ourselves by do gatherings, by communicating others. So it is very necessary for us to rewarding things. So my end of the speech of this is that we need to be plan every goals and push ourselves to execute it and monitor by rewarding and learning it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Faizan. Our next speaker is scheduled to be Toastmaster Salman Ejaz, but his evaluator has not reached yet. He will be here shortly. Don't worry, you will get the stage. So I'll invite Toastmaster Atif Sattar, and his evaluator is DTM Sarfraz. The project is writing a speech with a purpose, and title is Brain versus Machine. DTM Sarfraz, can you introduce the project, please?
Yes, thank you, DTM Talha. Toastmaster Atif Sattar is giving second speech from level 1, writing a speech with purpose. His purpose is humans understand the situation and emotions. Therefore, they respond accordingly. Whereas machines do not have the capability to understand emotions and thus are unable to solve tough problems. The title of his speech is Brain versus Machine. Brain versus Machine. Toastmaster Atif Sattar.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Atif. This is my second speech. This is the level one, the purpose for the speech. My speech is today.
You're on mute. Please unmute.
This, okay. I think you should start again. Yeah, apologies for this. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Today, my purpose of the speech is machine versus brain. It is all better of power and brains. Now I know what you are thinking, but I should wait. Machine don't have a brains, but maybe this true. The machine have to process. So the machine do have processes which are
You can continue. You can continue.
no problem.
Yeah.
It's all right. Be comfortable.
Yeah, you can continue from there. No problem.
They do have on process which can likely nearly cousin of the brains. This is like nearly cousin of the brain. And let me tell you, those nerds are getting smarter every day. But don't worry, still we are a human. As a human, we have still have plenty of tricks in the cells. And one more thing, as a human, we are a creativity. Machine are able to do to churn out the ream of data. Machine are able to churn out the ream data, but can the writer sonnet? No. Can they pen a masterpiece? As no. If we talk about the intelligence, emotional intelligence, the machine can able to recognize a face, but they can't read a mood, and they can't sympathy with a person in a pain or a joy. I don't think so. If we talk about other things, but the machine are very impressive. Pretty impressive too. They can process ample of amount of data in a blink of an eye. They can recognize patterns that human would miss. They can even beat us at chess and Jeopardy. Let's face it. I think so. In my opinion, nobody like lose to a machine. It's like losing to a toaster. So but there here the other things machine machine is only as good as the process. The process they can't think outside the pocket. They can't make natural leaves and they can't take a risk. And think is other sometime at what it takes to solve our solve the tough problems. So what does the future hold? So for the future hold, well, I think we will see the most of the collaboration between humans and machines. Human and machine will do the heavy lifting when it comes to data and analysis, while human will provide the creative spark and emotional insight. And it's like all coupled with better technology. In conclusion, brain versus machine is not some game. It is not about the winning one side and losing the other side. It is about it is about finding the right balance between the two and using other each to strength to achieve the better outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Atif. And our next speaker would be Toastmaster Asghar, and his evaluator is DTM Zishan. Please put your hands together once again for DTM Zishan. Please introduce the project. Sorry?
I have not written.
Actually,
It was being I will put that
no, we assigned you DTM Zishan. The Toastmaster Asghar. He's just shared. It's
in the KTC.
yeah, in the KTC group. The title of the project is Tipping Issue. So, DTM Zishan.
So the project details, they are the researching and the presenting, am I right? Is
Yes.
that project?
Yes.
So it's the researching and the presenting project. The purpose statement is, the purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review the basic research matters and present a well-organized and well-researched speech on the topic. It's a bit unfortunate because this is a table topic session for me because I have no details with me at this time what's the topic, but we are going to listen a very well-composed speech from a very accomplished speaker who is going to give us his presentation, a complete speech in which a research methodology has been used and he's going to share with us how to do it. So let's give the virtual stage to Toastmaster.
Rob,
Thank
would you
you.
like a
Last, please.
Toastmaster of the day, dear Toastmasters and guest, if anyone is there. It was a usual Karachi weekend. I was with 4 other friends.
Yeah,
A
actually.
dinner party.
Please ask Sarfraz Saab to mute. We can't listen anything. There is a talk from Sarfraz Saab.
Just a second. Just a second.
We can't listen anything.
I'm unmuted.
He's muted. He's muted, sir.
I just saw he was.
Stuff in the vehicles, preferably
No.
for you guys.
Wait. I know what the problem is. Just give me a second. It's not Sarprasa. It is
Chelsea trucks will be leading
the live streaming that is going on.
You can't play it on the windows. You're gonna put
You got the
Wait.
spare wheel.
There is this background noise, and I don't know.
So why don't we have a dog?
Sarprasa is muted.
All right.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes. Sorry, Toastmasters, sir. You can start again.
That background is still coming.
They have to work
That
overtime.
background sound is
They're only
still
gonna
coming.
Put a winch on the set of wheels and
It
tires.
is.
It's gonna
It's
take
an
2
English
weeks to go
accent,
business.
American
Yeah.
accent.
Some
Yeah, but no, I haven't opened anything. Just a second. Just a second. The live streaming is, no, nothing is generated from this site. So,
Dollar bill from email.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just check इसका mic or unmuted है.
Okay. This is a mystery. There is no one unmuted except for my window. Okay, let me mute myself. Toastmasters, you can unmute now.
Shall I start? Shall I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can start.
It was a usual Karachi weekend. I was with my 4 other friends. A dinner party had been planned one day prior. We were received with riveted eyes and amused smiles in a rush restaurant. Among the noise of clatter of cutlery and clinking of plates in the background. As per norm, after the dinner and before leaving the table, I offered 20 rupees tip in the cash holder in addition to the bill amount. What happened next was beyond my expectation and belief. The servers or waiter refused to take the tip and demanded 500 rupees instead because we were 5 people dining together. Now we all knew that they had done nothing more than usual. What they were doing was an excellent demonstration to fleece everyone, and one really didn't know what this strategy would entail for their food business. Though I strike a balance and amicably saved our tipping issues from reaching to the tipping point, this very notion of tipping forced me to revive the very culture so that I could see the forest for the tree. I found a plethora of detail about it. But what I found during my review of literature was amazing, thought-provoking, and informative. Pakistan is not an exception when it comes to the tipping. This culture is live, kicking, and being practiced throughout the world, albeit with variation and some very interesting background. Laced with racial prejudice, in 1902, John Speed, a journalist, wrote that Negroes take tip. One is expect that of them. It is their sign of inferiority, but giving a tip to the white man is embarrassing for me, quote unquote. Dear Toastmaster, the world had surely moved in the last 120 years. A famous food magazine called Gastronomica summarized the current norm of the tipping throughout the world. According to the magazine, in many European countries, a service charge is included in the bill, and customers are not expected to pay much extra, but they often round the figure up, leaving few coin on the table. In some Asian countries, according to this Gastronomica magazine, tipping is even frowned upon, something they don't like. In Japan, for instance, it is viewed as an insulting insinuation that the recipient is akin to a beggar, desperate for a handout. A similar attitude found in South Korea. In Singapore, restaurant trips are not expected, if not outrageous altogether. In India, Pakistan, and Africa, where the gap of prosperous middle class and the poor is huge, tips are certainly expected and even calculated as per ad in exceptional cases. Dear Toastmasters, according to this magazine, 99.9% people offer tip without being asked or demanded. Now, why in most cases people dole out money as tip when it is not asked or obligatory for them? A survey in 2010 by psychologists from Ben Gurion University attempted to solve this puzzle, he found that some fuzzier factor also seemed to matter. For example, according to him, 85% of American people or tipper claim to want the feeling of gratitude, while 60% said they tip to avoid the guilt. I also personally experienced these fuzzy factors. I, for example, tipped more generously for the food I received at my doorstep during the lockdown days. Now, I don't know, it was out of a feeling of gratitude or avoiding a guilt to put the delivery boy at the harm's way in the middle of a pandemic. Now, come to this. Tips. In the end of the KTC meeting at Beach Luxury Hotel, however, something baffling, frustrating, and disappointing for me. The waiter feels gratitude to the only Toastmaster who collects and pays to the waiter at the expense of all other Toastmasters who are expected to cough up the amount. In other words, the rest of the innocent Toastmaster in the physical meeting at Beach Luxury Hotel are being deprived from the feeling of gratitude and missing the chance for avoiding the guilt. This huge wrong needs immediate rectification. Charity, after all, begins at home. Toastmaster of the day.
You are mute.
Thank you, Toastmasters. Sir. Easy for you to say. You're not here. I bet everyone who's present here is loving your suggestion right now. So just a second. Let me fix the audio problem once and for all. I wonder why these headphones are, sorry. This is not working. Maybe, oh. It is because I did not plug them in. All right. All right. So let me air a complaint here. I'm the only executive committee member present in person today. So please expect more of this anyhow. So moving on, we will diverge a little bit and move towards our theme, which is, of course, the classic Hollywood. And we will go to our next movie, which is slightly different. I've tried to cover a wide spectrum of movies here. So The Wizard of Oz, one of the classic movies of all time. It is, again, a tale that is drawn from fairy tales, children's literature, but it has a character all its own. It is a very unique exercise in fantastic storytelling. It was, I believe, one of the first fantasy movies in Hollywood, although Hollywood has been making fantasy movies since the very beginning. Fantasy, fiction, science fiction has all been there. But Wizard of Oz is famous for its dark undertones, the incredible set design, the technical effects. Remember, there was no graphics wizardry back then. Everything was achieved through practical effects. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was one of the first movies to be distributed in color. Some of the portion was in full color. So it was a revolution in Hollywood at that time. The Wizard of Oz is memorable for its acting performances, its dialogues, its pacing, so much so that it has achieved a mythical status in our culture. Even today, all around us, its lines, its themes are being quoted. And one of the most famous lines from this movie is the understatement of the century, when Dorothy finds herself transported to this land of Oz. She says, I believe we are not in Kansas anymore. So this has become a staple, a cultural staple. And this line is taken to mean, whenever someone says it, it's taken to mean that we have arrived at a very strange place. Or when someone wants to ironically understate something, or they have messed up in a major way, or they find themselves in a completely different place versus their expectations, they say, I believe we're not in Kansas anymore. So we will continue with our speeches. And our next speech would be, okay. So again, Toastmaster Salman, stand by, your evaluator is on the way. And our next speaker is Toastmaster Rabia Zishan. Her project is Evaluation and Feedback Project 2. Okay, Toastmaster Rabia, are you available? You are online, so.
Yes, I am available.
Okay.
And give me I have to share the screen as well.
All right. So she'll be delivering Evaluation and Feedback Project 2. She delivered a speech called Picnic last week, and she received a certain amount of feedback on that. The feedback was, be more professional and not chit-chat while delivering a speech. So, Toastmaster Rabia, what's the title of your speech?
It's Picnic again, but
okay.
It's okay. Not okay,
All right.
but okay.
Okay, it's Picnic again. Okay, why not we call it Picnic again? Purpose statement for the member is for the second project and evaluation and feedback is to just give me a second to mainly incorporate the feedback received from the first speech and deliver a speech on any topic. It can be the same speech they delivered the first time, or it can be a different speech. So everyone, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Rabia Zishan. Picnic again, Toastmaster Rabia Zishan.
Tala, I would like for you to give me the options for screen sharing as well.
Yes, you have them.
And
can you
the
see the
chat I'm
time?
doing right now is not a part of the speech.
Sorry?
Nothing. I was thinking.
Okay. Can you see the timers window? I'm not.
Yes, I can.
Because that will complicate your presentation. So I'm not
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Let me know when I can start.
Yes, you can start right about now. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, long ago, in July 2022, we arranged a picnic for the members of the Karachi Toastmasters Club, 3rd July to be exact. I was the one who floated the idea, and everyone was excited and they wanted to attend a picnic, and everyone was sending me messages. So I started planning it. I did not foresee the plethora of problems that were going to come. As soon as the day of the picnic started to come near, I started to get messages from the members that they were not available on that day, or they had other commitments. And I was wondering, should I actually go forward with this plan or just cancel it? Few of the people who did commit, they wanted me to go on with the plan. So I said, okay, let's go on. Let's have some fun and take a break from our regular routine of jobs and work and Toastmaster speeches and have a fun time to re-energize ourselves and rejuvenate ourselves. But this was not the only problem that members are not attending. The place where we were supposed to go a small fun house. There was no electricity over there. There was no water over there. There was no gas over there. It did have a swimming pool, but we had to fill it with water if you wanted to go and spend the entire day over there. We overcame all these obstacles, and a few of us went together with our families because it was a family event and had a most wonderful day at this fun house. It was far from the main Karachi city, and we had to do even carpooling with some of the members who were trying to come and join the meeting. I had to make coordinate with each and everyone, and it did not only limit to Karachi Toastmasters Club, but we had to give an open invite to the other clubs in our city, Karachi, so that we can have more members joining the event. The planning went well, and we all reached over there. It was a mixed gathering. Some members who do not attend meetings, but they were there in the picnic to attend the picnic. We had a wonderful, all the children were playing. It had a beautiful view. We saw the sunset over there as well. Although it was the most humid weather one could have possibly imagined to going in. We were sweating the entire day, but with the people, but with the enthusiasm and energetics of the people, we ignored the hot weather and the humid weather. Just give me a minute. I am really sorry for that interruption.
No problem. Please continue. Please.
Okay. I'm lost now. So we went on and we enjoyed over there. We had our a short dinner, and then we all also played Antakshari, where we realized that almost all the Toastmasters who attended were such great singers. And anytime a new member said, okay, I'll sing a song, and we are like, how good they will be because the previous one was better. It came out that everyone was a very good singer at that, and we had a amazing time. I would like to show all of you. Yes. I'm extremely sorry. Today I'm having an internet issue, and maybe that is why my screen is, yes. So these were the few people who went with us and attended the picnic. As you can see, it was a fun gathering. We had few people who are not here with us anymore and have moved abroad. These are just a glimpses. And after the picnic was over and we all went home, our very own DTM Ali Asha Ranjan wrote some quotes for the picnic. The family is essential. It helps you to let go of your sorrow, halt your busy life, and take your time to enjoy the moments that mellow. You might get tired or suffer strains. On the other hand, lethargy drains. And he said, thank you everyone for making this happen, for making the moments which will turn into memories one day. We meet many people in our life, but not all instances will become memories. But the day we spent together definitely will. It was a very fun-filled day, and okay. And what I believe is that we should have gatherings like these, whether it's a dinner or it's a get-together or it's a chit-chat session or a tea at someone's house or a picnic, so that we grow our relations with each other than the relationship of only writing speeches and delivering speeches. We have amazing people in our Toastmasters fraternity, and we get to learn so much from them, and we get to meet them and meet their families and create some amazing friendship which do not have any personal gain or personal, you can say, benefits. So, people of Karachi Toastmasters Club, I invite you all. Isn't it time to have another casual meetup and another casual gathering? Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rabia, for rekindling the amazing memories that we all created during that picnic. And we will move on to our next speech now. The next speech is by Toastmaster Kareem Meghani, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Murtaza. So Toastmaster Kareem Meghani is joining us all the way from Madagascar, and he will be evaluated by Toastmaster Mufaddal, who is in Karachi, but somehow online. So Toastmaster Mufaddal, are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much, DDM Thala, for the wonderful introduction. Just 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute, please. Okay. So it's my honor to evaluate my target speaker, which is TM Kareem Meghani. He is doing I'm sorry. He is doing his project from the project Understanding Your Communication Style. The speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. The speech title is How Supportive I Can Be. How Supportive I Can Be. TM Kareem Meghani, the stage is yours.
All right, Toastmaster Kareem, please, there you are. Can you see the timers window?
Yeah, that's important if I see the timer. Yeah.
Yes. Don't
Timer
show this
is
don't show this gesture to the timer, please.
This is the Karachi Toastmaster Club.
Yes,
This is
yes.
the timer.
The hand is
Okay.
raised. Please lower your
Yes.
hand. I don't like the gesture. So, all right, I'm just kidding. So, everyone, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Kareem Meghani, and his speech title is, okay, just give me a few seconds.
How supportive I can be.
No, I insist on reading it out. How supportive can I be? How supportive can I be, Toastmaster Kareem Meghani?
Okay, just 1 second. Let me close the other side.
All right.
Okay. How many of you in the office or in this meeting room right now who are leading people? And it can be leadership in your office, like an office mate or a secretary or someone in the office. We all lead someone in a higher capacity, yes? We all have this kind of leadership in our offices. And not only in our offices, but this is in our life also. Sometimes we are leading our kids, sometimes we are leading our wives, at least for some husbands. But that's normal that, we are leading people. And when we are leading them, the most important part is to how to communicate with them. Because that communication part, if it is not good, the relation really goes down. Toastmaster of the day, dear Toastmaster and guest. Today I would like to talk about this particular subject about communication and related to how to communicate when you are leading someone, small, big, whatever. So the Toastmaster community tell us that there are 4 types of communication styles: direct, initiating, supportive, and 4th, who knows, skip my mind. But these are some of the communication styles which we've been taught from Toastmasters to us. When I start learning about communication style is not today when I was reading the project or last 1 week when I was working on this particular project. I learned it when I started my first pathway, 2 years now. When I learned about it, I was really motivated that this pathway or this project can really help me in my office work, how to communicate. And when I did a quiz with this particular project, the quiz tells me that I am a supportive leadership. I communicate and with a supportive mindset. Okay, supportive, really caring. I start implementing that in my office. And that was a time that there was a transition of my office assistant. She resigned because she was not happy with me. And there was a new office assistant join me. And I said that, I'm a supportive guy. I will support. I'll be really good in communication with my office assistant now. So what happened? The first 2 weeks, she was very scared from me because of my height, my texture. Said, no, how to communicate with this guy? And again, it's French and English. So she started writing to me on WhatsApp. I said, that's good. At least I don't have to speak French in whatever way. So we start talking even in the same office. Whenever she needs something from me, she will write it to me. I will respond to her. And that's it. The work start moving forward. But as it happens in all offices, the first month passed, great. Communication was really great. But then this happens. Karim, I'm really asthmatic. I have a son who had really issues. I have a husband and we don't communicate well. Now, you know what happened? She started telling me the stories which is going through at her home because I was putting a lot of work and I was expecting that it will be worked on a timely manner. Every office boss likes that. So, but again, my communication style say be supportive, be caring. So I listen to all of this, start thinking about what kind of task I can give to her. So she will not have that kind of pressure. But then one day I receive a video on Saturday. Look how I am really in flu and I cannot come to office next day. Okay. Medical? Do you have the doctors written something for you? But Karim, you can see that I am flu. I don't want to go to a doctor. Months and months passed. Now it's happening that all her annual leave is finished within the first year, in the middle of the year. Now, if you are dealing with this kind of leadership, how supportive we can be. You need to be direct, but direct will break her heart. Direct will tell her that, I need work 9 to 5. I need you properly working with me. If I initiate, if I'll be logical, I need results. So a few weeks ago, I gave her an assignment and she messed it up. I said, what happened? You're supposed to just send this message to few of the board members and you really forget some email addresses. Some people didn't receive that message. A very simple task. He said, yeah, Karim, I had some family issues. I was thinking, I was not in a frame of mind. Now, what can be the best communication style at that time for a leader? And I was thinking, being supportive is good, but now I need to find corrective measure because it's affecting my work. Now I again did the quiz today. I moved some points from supportive to directing. It's not good, but the experience tells us how to deal with people. Supportive is the best communication style, but sometimes you have to initiate, you have to be logical, you have to be direct. Over to you, Toastmaster today.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kareem. We are all impressed with your supportive communication style so much. The surprise, we are assigning you an evaluation. Are you ready?
Okay. Who is the lucky guy?
Yeah, the lucky person is Toastmaster Salman Ejaz. I just forwarded you his evaluation sheet. He's writing a speech with purpose.
Okay, let me see the agenda. Writing speech with purpose, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let me introduce him directly. Maybe if you, is on your first pathway and this is the first level.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Second.
So
Hello.
TM Mohammed Salman Ejaz.
Yes.
So he will be talking about today about a subject with a purpose. And
No, just a second. He'll introduce the speech. Toastmaster Kareem, there is a slight problem.
Technical glitch.
Yeah, and you're back. Yeah. Please unmute yourself. You just defied gravity.
Leave no one
so today my target speaker, Mohammed Salman, he will be delivering a 5 to 7 minute speech from the level 1, I think project 2, and he will be talking about his speech with a purpose. And I will be looking at his speech that if he fulfills this part by delivering that purpose to the audience. So over to you, sir. TM Mohammed Salman.
Toastmaster Salman, and everybody else who will do this project. First, when you come on the stage, you state the purpose of your speech before starting the speech. So please come on the stage and define what you hope to achieve through this speech.
Basically, writing the topic I have chosen for giving this speech is reminder.
Yeah.
Basic reminders are a very integral part of our life, and we need reminders from others. And self-reminding is a very important task where you tend to achieve what you have planned in your life.
Okay.
So I'll be delivering a speech on this.
Okay. So the importance of reminders.
Important reminders in our life,
in your life,
fellow members' life, and what you can say, and during what we plan and its monitoring.
All right. Fair enough. I hope the purpose is clear, Toastmaster Kareem. All right, it's clear. So you can go ahead. Everyone, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Salman Ejaz. Reminder to self, Toastmaster Salman Ejaz.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My speech today is on reminders. Reminders are a very integral part of our life. And on daily basis, we get reminders you can say in different phases of the day. Like 5 times we hear Azan, where is a reminder from Allah to attend namaz and go to masjid. And sometimes we get reminders from our family when we are forgetting a task or our obligation or responsibility, you can say. And on a daily basis in work life, where your boss and or your subordinates reminds you that we have to fulfill a certain project assigned to us by the management. So there are different type of reminders which we have to fulfill during a certain period of time. Reminders have a very important benefits as well as pros and cons. You can say reminders keep us on track when we are doing a certain thing for which we are allocated a certain deadline. Reminder will keep us on track, and we will not be able to deviate from it. And a certain reminder will tell us that we have to do a certain project and on within a certain period and time. Reminders help us in creating a habit where we develop a habit where constant reminders will help us to be self-aligned. We won't need reminder after a certain period of time for doing that certain task. And this will lead us to a disciplined life where we will develop good habits, and we will get time for other tasks too. We won't need any self-guidance if we have developed a certain habits again and again. Then simultaneously, when we get reminders from others, like philosopher of reminders from others, when marketing companies constantly remind you on emails and messages you for their advertisement, these are constant mind-breaking tasks where we try to ignore it. We get constant reminders through advertisement, TVs. So you can say the reminders are not sometimes bearable. You just switch off the TV or mute messages to forget away from the reminders. Some reminders are very useful for us. Some reminders are just you can't bear it. Moreover, reminders, in the end of the day, I will say that reminders are good. You can adopt it in your life, adopt it, create habits in a positive way, and just think that reminders are not generated from outside. Self-reminders are a very important part of our life. Self-reminders lead us towards good life, generate habits, be disciplined, and it would leave a successful life. Either you live for 70 years, 60 years, or 50 years, whatever it is, it would help you live a life, a quality life, which every human being intend to have. And reminders not only will facilitate you in kick off your life, but you can create an ecosystem where a person with the help of you will improve your life. So try to adopt this habit and not only facilitate yourself, but also others. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that was our last prepared speaker of the day. And before we move on, I would ask our vote counter to float the vote. And I would like to inform that 2 of our speakers did not meet the minimum time for speeches. Both of them are new speakers. So I will leave it, since I'm the VP Education and also the acting president, I will leave the decision to the vote counter. Toastmaster Rabia, would you like to include them?
Dithyam Tala, how much time did they went overboard or underboard?
About 30 seconds each.
I think if they are both first timers, then we can have them in the poll, I think.
All right. All right. So yes, just a second. And
I'll float the poll.
yes, please float the poll.
Okay.
In the meantime, let me. No, it's not. The school name. You are playing. I know. I have to. All right. Okay. Toastmaster Rabia is floating the poll, and in the meantime,
Vidyam Dala, please continue. I'll just float it in few seconds.
Yeah, I'm trying to precisely that. Actually, and so in the meantime, while the poll is floated, let's carry on with our theme of the meeting. And that is, of course, the classic Hollywood movies. And we move to our next movie. And yes, I know many of your favorite movies would be missing because it's not possible to cover all of them. But this one, 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1961, Stanley Kubrick. It is one of the all-time classic movies. Any problems, Vishal?
I was not born at it.
Yeah, exactly. So this was an entirely new kind of movie because back then there was a lot of science fiction. Novels were being written. That was the age of Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov and Ray Bradbury and other big names in science fiction who laid the foundation of all fiction and science fiction. So today, most of the material that we see on televisions, on movie screens, is in fact science fiction. What is MCU, Marvel Continuous Universe, the cinematic universe? It is science fiction. Superhero movies, fantasy movies, shows like Game of Thrones and Stranger Things. If you think about it, and this will come as a revelation, most of the top grossing movies of all time have been science fiction movies. Don't believe me? Avatar, Avatar 2, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, and Terminator 2, Star Wars. So history, epoch-making movies, most of them have been science fiction movies. So science fiction as a genre is always relegated to the status of an outcast in terms of pop culture. People who feel attached to science fiction movies, shows, animes, cartoons, they are marginalized. They're called nerds and geeks. But guess what? Everybody is consuming science fiction today. And this movie laid in a dialogue or in a scene setup. It is all about mankind discovering a strange artifact on the moon and some astronauts going to investigate it and then they disappear, or a lot happens. I won't give away the movie. And it is also about the rise of artificial intelligence because the computer running the spaceship goes rogue. It becomes a rebel and it refuses to act on the commands of its masters. And from there, we get its most famous dialogue. And that dialogue is between the astronaut and the computer, which is called HAL, H-A-L, HAL 9000. And HAL is a play on IBM because H is I minus 1, A is B minus 1, and L is M minus 1. The astronaut says, HAL, please open the pod bay doors. And the computer responds, I'm afraid I can't do that. So I'm afraid I can't do that. Again, that is also a line that is repeated throughout pop culture. It is one of the towering achievements of Stanley Kubrick and cinema in general. I watched it a few years ago, and to be very honest, its aesthetics and pacing felt slightly strange and alien. There are long sessions, there are long scenes without any dialogue. There's very little dialogue in the movie. It's more about showing rather than telling. But at the same time, it remains one of the most celebrated movies of all time. And it is one of the few movies which later got converted into a book. So it laid the foundation of the Odyssey series by Arthur C. Clarke, 2001, 2010, 2021, or 3001, 2061 and 3001. I read all four, and everyone after 2001 kind of went down in quality, but at the same time, it remains a seminal book and a seminal movie in the history of culture. So with that, we will move on to our vote counter. Toastmaster Rabia. Okay, she has floated the poll, and I will give everyone a minute to vote. Yeah.
For the best prepared speaker.
Yes, best prepared speaker.
Yes.
All right.
I thought it was for the best movie. That
Yes, that is what I was confused, that I just floated the poll and he's again asking me, maybe he wants me to make another one for the movies or so.
All right. And with that, we should now move to the table topics session, but our table topics master has not yet joined. Let me ask him. In the meantime, let us continue with our theme. And the next movie on our list would be.
Do you want me to call DTM Samir?
No, actually, I am in contact with him, so
Okay,
he should be
great.
joining any minute. So, yes, Breakfast at Tiffany's. So, anyone who's seen this movie, raise your hand. Not anyone here. Anyone online? Have you seen Breakfast at Tiffany's? Oh, so. Oh, I feel so old now. But let me assure you, I did not watch it in cinemas. I watched it on Netflix. No, I did not watch it on Netflix. I downloaded it illegally and watched it because it was not on Netflix. So, Breakfast at Tiffany's is a very interesting and dramatic movie. It is a movie that inspired a lot of movies after it, a lot of our own dramas and movies in the subcontinent. It is all about a person, this lady, who is actually trying to settle in a very sophisticated society while coming from a very ordinary background. So it's all about class struggle. It's all about love, because of course, in all love stories, the heartbreaking part comes where two unlikely people are in love with each other. So the object of her affection was, of course, someone very rich and sophisticated, and she was very raw. She used to hide it very well. She used to pretend. And this movie is all about her trying to adjust in the class system and finally realizing that there's only so much that you can do to deviate from who you really are. So Breakfast at Tiffany, an unforgettable performance by Audrey Hepburn, and one of the most celebrated movies of all time. And no, I don't remember any dialogue from this movie. So
Thanks, good call.
yeah. So, okay, now, okay, our table topics master is joining in 2 minutes. So, okay, why don't I ask anyone from anyone here? Anyone, what is your favorite classic movie? Toastmaster.
Titanic.
Oh, Titanic. Oh, yes.
Does it comes in that era which you are?
No, we're not talking about.
We are talking of classic.
Classic movies. So, as Toastmaster Daniel mentioned, very depressingly, that for him, Good Will Hunting was one from the golden age. So the golden age is usually considered to be 50s and 60s, 40s. Although these things are subjective, we all know that.
Actually, sir, another thing that
Yeah.
I can add here,
is that usually it is termed as that fiction of one era is supposed to be the reality of another.
Yes, very true.
Subsequent.
Very true. Very true. So beautifully put. So for example, the fiction shown in 2001: A Space Odyssey, which actually showed that we will land on the moon, humanity will land on the moon, and it did in 8 or 9 years. So yes, and that is what was the intent of the movie originally. So yes, you're so right.
It is very much relevant to the science fiction movies.
Yes, exactly.
Very much.
Ultimately, they become reality. For example, in the 60s and 70s, nobody knew that much or cared that much about environment and pollution and sustainability. So those movies reflected an optimism for the future. Flying cars, floating roads, and even as early as 1927, there was a German movie called Metropolis, and it showed a very sophisticated city with people flying everywhere. In 1927, they achieved that through models and cardboard models and everything.
Just we were in the conference for this digital transformation.
Yes.
And they said that the latest technology of the metaphase, he said that the person who was been working over this, he said, I got this concept from the movie Avengers. So
yeah,
just it came to my mind that if something comes like this, so we can have, and then you put a utility case of that.
Yes.
So imagine going into that new world of your thought. He just gave that concept and built the metaphase, and now the whole world is after the sandbox and the metaphase and other things have happened.
Yes, exactly. So very true. And Toastmaster Shmir Shehroz has reminded me that I haven't mentioned any James Bond movies.
Yes.
So the truth is, Toastmaster Shehroz, that yes, those come in classic movies. Some of them do at least. But the trouble is that when a movie gets too popular and it earns a lot of money, usually it's not considered classic by the critics. So yeah, that's a paradox we are living in. But we are drawing no such lines. So yes, there are plenty of James Bond movies that can be considered classics. And we have just in time Toastmaster Samir Hamid Dholi joining us as our table topics master. So everyone, please put your hands together for the mentor to this club, one of the pillars of Karachi Toastmasters Club and Toastmasters in Pakistan, our first ever district director. Although that's not technically true, he was territorial council director, and he was asked, I remember, Toastmasters headquarters asked him, would you like to be addressed as district director or territorial council director? And his response says everything there is to know about DTM Samir. He says that since I am leading a territorial council, I'd like to be known as territorial council director. So everyone, please put your hands together for our table topics master, distinguished Toastmaster Samir.
Thank you very much, DTM Tala. Since the theme is about classic movies and the poster was from Casablanca, I think I would first like to try a few dialogues from Casablanca on our members. Our first speaker is none other than DTM Sarfaraz. DTM Sarfaraz, are you available?
Yes, DTM Samir. But my suggestion would be there are several Toastmasters online who have no roles at all. If you would like to contact them first.
I would be happy to do that. But since I am compelled by a force greater than myself to call out your name, I have to do it.
Okay.
The force greater than myself is DTM Tala. So there you have it.
Thank you for that.
Anyway, DTM, okay. DTM Sarfaraz, your topic is years looking at you, kid. Years looking at you, kid. DTM Sarfaraz.
Thank you, Table Talks Master, DTM Samir, and fellow Toastmasters. Here's looking at you, kid. Well, sometimes when I'm standing in front of the mirror, I see a little kid growing up in Karachi, actually the island of Manora, looking across from the house, the ocean, the Indian Ocean. And I used to wonder a lot about what lies ahead. And I also learned later on that ocean represents knowledge. I've seen people taking water from the ocean, but it does not diminish the ocean, no matter how much water you take away. And the same way goes with our brains and our knowledge. No matter how much we learn, there's always some more capacity to learn more and more. As we grow old, we like to be kids again. Because as kids, we want to be adults because we think, oh, hey, you can't do this because you're a kid. Hey, you're too little to do this. So we want to be adults, but then when we are adults, we say, oh, I wish I was back in school. I wish I was a little kid again. No worries, nothing to worry about. So here's to looking at you, kid, again. If I could go back in time, I would go back when I was 5 years old. Back to you, DTM Samir.
Thank you very much, DTM Sarfaraz. The next topic is for Toastmaster Irfan. Toastmaster Irfan, are you available?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. This is another dialogue from Casablanca. It's the same old story, a fight for love and glory. It's the same old story, a fight for love and glory. Toastmaster Irfan.
When I look at my academic studies, I read a short story. It was titled Logic, Love is a Fallacy. And when I look at my own life at this age, I try to evaluate what is right. Love as a fallacy or love as a reality. And since my wife is not listening, I can be honest in certain occasions, but cannot speak louder because she will listen, or at least the kids will listen. The story that I had read, the outcome of that short story is that there is logic in love. You try to convince a girl that you two have a beautiful couple, you two can be a good couple, through all the logics, and she accepts all logics, but she decides to marry a person who has a very specific code, an overall code. And when we look at the life of people, when we look at the beautiful movies that portray a romantic love life, we feel that all good stories should end with the sentence, and they lived happily after. Most of our subcontinent movies, they end at the occasion where the couple agree to marry or the family agrees to let them marry. But when we look at the reality of the life starts after the love marriage. So in my opinion, love is not a fallacy, but marriage after love is a more difficult thing. You have a great expectation from each other. And you spend whole of your life trying to justify that, yes, we both were, and we both will remain made for each other. Over to you, TM Samir.
Thank you very much. Again, we'll go back to Casablanca and I will request Kadir Ansari. Kadir Ansari, are you available? Toastmaster Kadir Ansari?
Yes, I am here.
Thank
Please
you.
come on stage.
Kadir Ansari, your topic is again a dialogue from Casablanca. Go ahead and shoot. you'll be doing me a favor. Go ahead and shoot, you'll be doing me a favor, Kadir Ansari.
Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters. Go ahead and shoot. Plenty of times when we are facing the fellow friends and colleagues, at certain times they always expect from us something from our own person should come out. For example, whenever, according to my own experience, when my colleagues and my co-workers, when they have some sort of situation they are facing, actually they are expecting from my end, my response, that if I was in such sort of situation, what would I have to do? And then this is the real time when my own person comes out of my own self. And then I realize I put my shoes into it, into their situation. And the plethora of occasions comes into my mind. And then I put my feet into their shoes, and then I have to exercise my own things. And then I put some sort of what I can call to it is that to resolve, I have to do something to resolve their problem to my co-workers and to my colleagues. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you. Now our next topic, and this is going to be a non-Casablanca quote, is going to go to Toastmaster Zara. Toastmaster Zara, are you available?
Yes, Toastmaster Zahra, yes. Sir, I'm
Zara.
here.
Sorry, Zara, forgive me.
Zahra.
Okay, Toastmaster Zara, your topic is from a very old movie, The Wizard of Oz. It's There's No Place Like Home. There's no place like home, Toastmaster Zara.
Thank you very much. There's no place like home. Indeed. That's so, and I think I will get emotional because, you know, home is something where you are complete. Home, without home, you are nothing. Your parents, your family, your siblings, they all mean so much to you. When everyone around you don't want to accept you for who you are, there's what your family is out there for you, who will always help you out in your difficult times, whom you can trust, who they can't leave you alone. I was a few days back, I was reading a book. It was by Robin Sharma, Who Will Cry When You Die? And there were set of different, I can say, lessons. There were 100 lessons in that book. And that first lesson was discover your calling. And it said that, so the Robin Sharma's father says that when you, son, when you were born, the world, when you were born, the world rejoiced, but while you cried, live your life in such a way that when you die, you rejoice while the world cries. So it's very important that we, put all the things together. We, take care of our family. We take care of them, and moreover, we help each other out in difficult times, and that's so important. And because there are plethora of things going on at home, and at times we miss out certain things. And this is what my take on to this topic is. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Toastmaster Daniel Tariq. Are you available?
Actually, he just walked out, so maybe we can come to him later. Yeah.
Okay. What about Vishan Aziz, Toastmaster Aziz? Is he here?
Vishan is not here. Not here. Yeah.
Not here. All right. How about a guest from far off, DTM Zishan Abed? Is DTM Zishan there?
Had you been more regular in meetings, you would have known that he is a member, not a guest.
So
Yeah, no, I know, but from far away, meaning that he's not
Yeah.
Karachi. But is he there? Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He is. He is. All right. Okay.
Assalamualaikum, Samir.
Walaikum Salam. Your topic is from the Pride of the Yankees from 1942. The Pride of the Yankees, 1942. And the topic is, today I consider myself the luckiest man on earth. Today I consider myself the luckiest man on earth. DTM Zishan.
Thank you, table topic master. The life teaches you a lot. Once you are being born, you have no idea which dimensions this life will take you. But creeping, taking a step, moving ahead, identifying the goals, there is a plethora of the thoughts which comes to you through your family, through your friends, and all those who are around you. But what happens? The most happening event is the satisfaction. We keep on striving, taking a step ahead, moving back, thinking that this is good. No, I'm not being happy there. I have to strive more. Nothing wrong in that. But the end of the story is you find yourself that yes, I am among the person who is the luckiest amongst the all. This term I never think is a comparative term. It's something which comes from inside of you. The person who works from the morning till the evening and just have the one law, just have a one sip of water, he find himself, yes, I am the luckiest amongst the all. Because never think that being lucky is a comparative term. It's the term which you have to find, you have to define, you have to get, you have to increase from your inner core. And I believe that I am in the one of, not the one of, the luckiest of all, because my inner is satisfied. Back to the table.
Thank you, DTM Zishan. DTM Tala, do we have TM Daniel or TM Aziz? Are they available?
Yes, Toastmaster Daniel is here. Yes.
Daniel. Okay. Toastmaster Daniel, your topic is from a movie, Some Like It Hot from 1952. And it's a very simple quotation. It's, well, nobody's perfect. Well, nobody's perfect. Toastmaster Daniel.
So I have to give a speech about the quote.
Yeah. Well, nobody's perfect. Yeah.
Well, there is a plethora of reasons that nobody is perfect. I think the phrase is trying to tell us about the perfection that we're trying to chase in our lives. So basically, perfection that we're trying to chase is just an illusion in our eyes. So if we can actually look at it as if we can look at it as the way that other people see, then we might not be living as we should be. I think perfection is a fool's idea to live a happy life, and nobody's perfect. And if you want to just stay happy, I think it's better that you should prioritize the things that are much meaningful to you and bring joy to your life. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Toastmaster Daniel. TTM Tala, do we have Toastmaster Aziz?
And no, he's not here. I think he's left.
No issue. Then, in that case, I will not. Sorry?
We have Toastmaster Mariam though. She just logged in.
Okay, all right. Toastmaster Mariam, are you, would you like the topic? Can you please show yourself?
I cannot open my video camera, but yes, I can hear you. Another can just, but I don't know the topic.
In that case, okay, I'll give you the topic right now. The topic is from a very old movie, not a very old movie, a rather recent movie, The Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. I'll be back. Toastmaster Mariam.
Thank you so much. I don't know why you have given me this topic, but this is what I want to say to Toastmasters Karachi. I'll be back. I know I've been missing on so many meetings these days due to some work, but yes, I'll be back. I'll be back with a bang. I'll be back with all those speeches. I'll be back with that attitude of not leaving behind. I'll be back with the attitude of taking all the roles and all the responsibilities on time. But right now, I'm sorry for that. But yes, thank you so much for giving me this topic and letting me speak to my club that no matter how busy I am, no matter how life stuck me with its own self, but yes, I know I am there for you to let you know that my club, whenever you need me, I'll be there for you. But now I might be busy, but you definitely are on my mind. So whatever I'm doing out of my busy schedule, I try, and I will definitely take out some time for you to join in for the meeting. My club, I miss you. I'll be back for sure, no matter what. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mariam. And now I will hand the charge back to the Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Samir. And what a table topic session that was. You brought all the favorite dialogues of movies, and certainly some very important life lessons that are hiding in those dialogues. And it is just like you to bring entertainment and learning together seamlessly like this. Because fellow Toastmasters and guests, and DTM Samir, allow me to say this. DTM Samir learned about the theme of the meeting only when he joined as Table Topics Master. So, absolutely amazing job there. And now we will move on to the next session, which is journal evaluation. But not before.
Did everyone qualify?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, everyone qualified. So please float the poll for best table topic speaker. In the meantime, let's move forward with our theme. And our next movie is The Shining. One of my favorite movies of, no. Stephen King is one of my favorite writers. In fact, he is the writer I've read the most after Arthur C. Clarke. So yeah, don't judge. I'm a nerd. So The Shining is a harrowing tale. It is about a man slowly going mad out of rage and frustrations and giving rise to demons both within him and outside of him. And in the end, affecting his family, his livelihood. And this movie is one of the most important movies of all time, simply because of Jack Nicholson's performance and also because of how it was shot. It's considered a classic. But the irony is that Stephen King does not like this movie. He thinks that his story was changed too much in the process of adapting it to the big screen. And once again, it is a movie by Stanley Kubrick. So you know that he would be knowing what he's doing. But yes, I read the book first, and too much has changed. And tragically, that's why it is impossible for me to enjoy The Shining. Even though if I tell myself that, take it as a movie, forget about the book. But it's impossible to do for anyone who has read the book, because the book is in its own right a bona fide classic. It is one of the best novels of all time in any genre. And it is also filled with memorable set pieces, instances. The Shining, though, what is The Shining? If any one of you hasn't watched this movie, you would be wondering that why a movie called The Shining is a horror movie. Well, The Shining is the power of extrasensory perception that the protagonist of the movie has. It's a child, it's a 7 or 8-year-old child, and he has this power to perceive the future or others' thoughts. And this is what The Shining is. And this is what the demons in the haunted hotel overlook. This is what they're after. In Stephen King's books, demons and monsters do not go after flesh or blood. They go after thoughts and feelings. So with this tribute to The Shining, we will now move to the general evaluation section. And today, actually, every device that I'm using is refusing to work one by one. So bear with me.
I'm ready, DTM Talha.
Yes. So, and one last thing though, DTM Sarfraz, do you know what's the most famous dialogue of The Shining, and can you repeat it as your entrance as journal evaluator?
Frankly, my dear, I was going to use that one from the other movie, not from this one. But
All right.
you have mentioned several good dialogues, and I was going to add that as Toastmasters, when we give speeches, you cannot copy the entire movie in your speech, but you can use a dialogue.
Yes.
And example, frankly, my dear, I used it and people laughed, not because what I said, because they could relate to movie.
Right.
And one of my keynotes at the District 25 conference, I used the 3 characters from Wizard of Oz, the lion, the scarecrow, and the Tin Man. So you can use dialogues. For example, Gone with the Wind, the dialogue, as God is my witness, I shall never go hungry again. And I use that in modified form, as God is my witness, I shall never be broke again. So Toastmasters, feel free to use dialogue from movies, because most people will recognize them.
So yes, feel free to use dialogues. And yes, if the dialogue is too famous, too well-known, you don't even need to reference it, because it's just one line, it's not a paragraph. So I will introduce DTM Sarfraz, when just like Jack Torrance, the hero or the villain of The Shining, introduced himself when he was chasing his wife with an axe in his hand. Here's Sarfraz.
Thank you, DTM Talha, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. I don't know if it's a classic or not, but the first English movie that I remember is when I was in the 9th class, our teacher took us to the British Embassy in Karachi, where we saw Great Expectations. Some of you might remember it. And fellow Toastmasters, we now move into the third and final segment of our meeting, evaluation. One of the pillars of Toastmasters is the feedback. This is a section when we receive feedback. Speakers get feedback from the evaluators, what they liked about their speeches and how those speeches can be improved. So we learn by practicing, giving our speeches. We also learn by getting the feedback from our fellow Toastmasters. I will call the evaluators in the order the speeches were given. Our first speaker was Toastmaster Faizan Zafar. evaluating his speech. Now, sometimes people say Rabia Zishan will be evaluating Toastmaster Faizan. She is not evaluating Faizan, she is evaluating his speech. Please welcome Toastmaster Rabia Zishan, evaluating the speech given by Toastmaster Faizan Zafar, managing time.
Thank you so much, DTM Sarfaraz. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially Toastmaster Faizan. Today, you had to give a speech on managing time. That was the purpose of your project. And what an amazing speech you gave today. You are very confident. And you very confidently even use your hand gestures. I was really amazed by them. And it was a very well-researched and well-planned speech. You talked about on the important topic of time management and how to deal with it in different circumstances. You had segments in your speech, and the transition from one segment to the other was phenomenal. It was a well-researched speech, and you mentioned different apps and different tips and different techniques of when we should use at different occasions or different events. So thank you for telling us those amazing tips. I really, really loved your hand gestures because I noticed them that you were very confident and you used them perfectly. For example, you were talking about going forward. So you gave a hand gesture which meant going forward, and it was very confident. One thing which I noticed in your speech was that you were kind of stuck at one position, especially to the online audience. You were stuck to the right side of the screen. So it felt like it. I would suggest when you come onto the stage to please take a little time before starting your speech and mark your position on the ground. Also keep in mind the online audience, because it would have been better if we could have seen you at the center of the screen. One more thing that I felt was that you were in a hurry. You just came on the speaking area and you started, and it took me a while to realize that you had actually started the speech. I thought you were just asking something to DTM Talha. So then I realized, oh no, he's speaking, and you had little or no pauses during your speech or while transitioning. So I would encourage you to take meaningful pauses in your speech and position yourself. So you had amazing confidence, amazing content, well-researched speech, and amazing hand gestures. I really like the confidence with which you use your hand gestures. It's like it comes naturally to you, and you know the perfect hand gestures to use at the perfect point. The things that you can improve on are your stage positioning or your movement, purposeful movement, and your speed. Take your time, come, stand on the stage, give yourself a few seconds, and then start your speech so that we know, okay, now the speaker has started the speech. And take meaningful pauses. Back to you, journal evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rabia. Our second speaker was Toastmaster Atif Sattar, and I will be providing the evaluation of his speech. Fellow Toastmasters, and especially you, Toastmaster Atif, first I'm going to tell you what I liked about your speech, and then I will provide you some suggestions for improvement. I love the fact that you joined Toastmasters a few weeks ago, and you're already giving your second speech. In my experience, I've seen some people join Toastmasters, give their first speech, the icebreaker, in which they tell us a little bit about themselves, and then they disappear from the scene. Great job in coming back within a few weeks and giving us your second speech. The second thing I liked about your speech, at times you struggled. And even though you struggled, you had the courage to stand before the audience and continue giving your speech, and you finish your speech. And I say this because in my experience, there have been times when a person had trouble giving the speech and they stopped and just walked and sat down, but you completed your speech. Well done. The third thing I liked about your presentation was the topic you chose. There is a lot of talk about artificial intelligence. We can even now have an artificial Toastmaster of the day. We can also now have someone prepare our speech for us, which will be a problem for Toastmasters speech contests to try to determine is the speech original or created by a machine. So a good topic that you selected. Now, let me tell you what you can do, in my opinion, to improve your future speeches. You open by saying that this is my second speech. I feel there's no need to tell us if it's your second speech or 100 speech. Simply open your speech with the purpose of your speech. You can start by asking a question. Are machines smarter than human? Or you can start your speech by giving us a story. For example, saying that, hey, I just recently bought a mini AI robot. It's smart. This morning when I left home for work, my wife appeared to be somewhat not in a good mood. After work, when I got home, I asked the robot, hey, what mood is my wife in? He said, I'm smart, but not that smart. So instead of giving us a technical presentation about the machines, what they are, give us in a form of story, because it'll be easier to remember. Tell us what machines mean to you and how you feel about them. That'll make it easier. And then you ended your speech by saying, thank you. There is no need to thank us. As audience, we should be thanking you for coming to the Beach Luxury Hotel, standing in front of the audience and giving us a speech on humans versus machines. Great job of giving your speech, the courage, second speech, and I look forward to your third speech. Just give us a story next time. Back to you, General Evaluator. Our third speaker was Toastmaster Asghar. Please welcome the evaluator for his speech, DTM Zishan Abid. DTM Zishan Abid.
KTC, you are on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay, you can start.
Okay, thank you. Toastmaster Asghar, what an excellent speaker you are. Your calmness on the face, your eye contact, the way you are having a clarity of your thoughts, you are just making happens. I have noticed a long plethora for your positivities. Just want to hint because we all have to learn by doing these things. You started with a storytelling technique, a wonderful way, because normally the research, the methodologies, they have been so boring. You started with the storytelling, and that's the way from where I being evaluated and many of the audience, they just captured it. You move with an excellent comparative analysis that this tipping, how one person, how the other one, how the third one, how they are being all looking at that. The best thing that you are being giving the referencing in a very proper way. Because in the research and once we have been quoting some figures, we need to provide these references, they are coming from there. I found not a single area where the proper reference was not being quoted. Excellent job over this. Good pauses, your body movement, eye contact, all academic working was being excellent. Now, I just want to give my suggestion for the further improvement. One thing, being a virtual audience, this virtual stage is being yours. And I found that you are not using the stage which it can be done by the right, by the left. This is your stage. You can make it more positive. You can have a better impact if you use the stage in the best way. Second observation, topic. tipping has been excellent, but tipping issues were not being there. There were being a comparative perceptions of the tipping in the different phases, in different world, in different economy, in different cities. So tipping issue might be a better topic, can give a better understanding. I feel in the virtual speech, there is always a problem that what type of background I am going to have. So your background is being so heavy that sometimes you were being missing into that. So virtual backgrounds they are always been creating a problem. So be selective over this. The vocal variety. I find that you are continuing with one single tone. A person of your caliber, he can easily play up, down, and can move in a very positive, he can move ahead, and he can give with a better tone, with a better vocal variety. Excellent job. You are marvelous. Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Zishan. Many times today, we heard, hey, please unmute yourself. Over the past several months, I've heard people tell me, hey, we can hear you, you're muted. Today, for the first time, I learned that I can be heard even when I am muted. And that's thanks to Toastmaster Irfan Farooqi, who unfortunately, because of his guests, had to drop off. So if you see him or talk to him, let him know. Thank you for letting me know. I'll have to be careful what I say even when I'm muted because someone can hear me. Our next speaker was Toastmaster Rabia Zishan, who took us on a picnic. Evaluating his speech, please welcome Toastmaster of Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid. Immediate past district director, club president at one club, club VP education, another one, sponsor of several Toastmaster clubs. And I can give a 5 to 7 minute speech just on telling you what he means to Toastmasters. Back to you, DTM Talha.
Thank you so much, DTM Sarfraz. I'd just like to make a correction. 2 terms, club president for this one, not one. See, I'm so humble, right? So, all right. Can someone time me? I can time you. Okay. Then you need to show these. Yeah. Thank you so much. Toastmaster Rabia Zishan. Picnic again. When we heard the title, we were expecting, of course, to be taken again on the same journey, since this was what your project required. And you chose very wisely, let me tell you, to retread the same speech. Because in this particular project, I believe that it is best to give the same speech again to address the shortcomings. But there is also a downside to this approach. The downside is that there are certain problems that you solve, and there are some certain that you introduce. And over my Toastmaster journey, I found out that as one speaks and makes speeches and goes up the levels, one does discover new problems that weren't there before. You had a storybook start, Toastmaster Rabia, and your tone was dreamy and very appropriate to the topic of the speech, which was a picnic, which is like a fairy tale to us Karachiites. It was, let me tell you that. You sounded more planted, more planned, more deliberate this time versus your last time. And you used the word of the day, again, spontaneously, very well used. You had good humor throughout your speech, especially in the starting part. And you had some great imagery. You're not only with your photo sharing, but also with your words. So we were fully immersed in that experience. Unfortunately, though, there are quite a few improvement areas. And the first one is that you should have stood up for this particular meeting because we went on a picnic and we jumped and we swam and we ran and did all sorts of stupid things. We did not sit. Secondly, your speech could have been more humorous, but I feel you miss a few humorous opportunities to introduce humor. For example, you could have leaned into the fact that we go on picnics so rarely. You could have said ironically or sarcastically that you know how active KTC members are, something like that. You had a little bit of a low energy, especially after being disturbed by your background. And by the way, I salute you for that, for continuing and soldiering on. But your energy level dropped quite significantly after that. And you did not mention your husband's wonderful singing, which was an integral part. He led the session and he lent so much life to the picnic. So please praise your husband sometime, behind his back at least. But overall, and you could have recited Ali's poetry in a better way. You basically, I felt that you could have done it more justice. But overall, I believe you fixed the issues that you had in the first speech, but you managed to introduce a few new problems, largely owing to the disturbance in your background. Overall, absolutely wonderful speech. Over to you, General Wells.
Thank you, DTM Talha. Our next speaker was Toastmaster Karim Meghani, who was very lit. Evaluating his speech, please welcome Toastmaster Mufaddal Murtaza. Toastmaster Mufaddal Murtaza.
Yes, thank you very much, General Evaluator, for inviting me for the evaluation of my target speaker, TM Karim Meghani. I hope you guys can hear me and see me, right?
Yes, sure, we can.
Okay, great. So, what a wonderful speech. You started about talking about leadership skills. And then I really liked that you jumped on the part where you discussed the importance of communication in leadership skills. You talked about how important communication is when you are dealing with leadership, whether it is in your office, whether it is in your home, in your house, and you added a humor at this point of time where you said that certain people among us would be leading and directing our wives as well. So I really like that you added a humor into this one. Then you jumped onto your story. You started with the project, your particular project, and you found out that while you were doing this evaluation for your self-reflection, you found out that your communication style is supportive. And whenever you came onto this thing, you came across leadership, you tried yourself to be supportive. And then you jumped onto a very particular story about your assistant. One of them resigned, the new one came, and how you struggled while communicating with her. So you started with the whole story. You said that it's the first month. She started to make some excuses. You were really supportive in that case. And then after that, you jumped on to the point that if you stay supportive all the time, then it can be harmful. You have to change your communication style. So I really liked this point, that you emphasize that you cannot stay with one communication style. Then you moved on to the point that you didn't want to make the work suffer, so you changed your communication style and you solved your issues. The areas which I liked was your voice model. You changed your voice when you were transferring your character to that assistant. Your eyebrows, I really liked your eye movement. I would really love to do that as well, that when you wanted to emphasize on something, you moved your eyes up and down. I really like that. And your hand movement was really good as well. Just some areas of improvement which would have created more impact. I've seen you jumping all around. I don't know why this time you have kept your camera a bit close to yourself. So your stage movement was confined due to that stage movement. And I've seen you moving here and there, jumping, giving wonderful speeches. I felt that was not in this part. Other than that, I would have loved how you deal your personal life while you're dealing with the communication styles and leadership skills. Everything was awesome. All the best for your future projects. That's all from my side. Over to you, Jalal.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mufaddal. Reminder to self, our sixth and last speaker was Toastmaster Muhammad Salman. Evaluating his speech, please welcome Toastmaster Kareem Meghani. Toastmaster Kareem.
Thank you, General Evaluator. It was a pleasure hearing you, TM Mohammed. Salman, it was a sudden evaluation came to me, but what I really realized in the beginning that you were really nervous when you started your speech, and that was something which shows me that you recently joined Toastmaster. I think this is your second speech, the first pathway. So first thing first, I will tell you that don't worry. This is your first experience, and I remember my first speeches. And I remember that when my first speeches, I just keep it a video and I keep it with me, because that first experience remind me that where I was and where I have to be. So that's something. Don't be nervous about it. And I think that you feel that you have a topic, reminders, and you just want to talk about it, and you have notes in your hand and you just want to talk about reminders. What is reminders, how we do reminders, what it helps us, and that's it. So no problem. Purpose of the speech was to learn about the purpose. So you told us that reminders are important, and we learned it. That was wonderful. Now, what you can improve it. Improve is, as you are moving forward in your speech, first thing that, you make your structure of a speech. I will love that, if you want to talk about reminders, bring a story or something which can attract audience. Something in the beginning where you can talk about to all the audience is looking at you and maybe thinking about their reminders. Today, what kind of reminders I had if I'll be looking at your speech. And then you come in the middle, and then in the end, you go to the conclusion that how reminders are important in our life. So this is something which I want you to work on, your structure of your speech, your catching the audience attention, the middle part, and the conclusion. What I would like you to challenge you, because this is your second speech. Now think about your body movement. Think about your voice modulation. How you can, and voice modulation and body movement will come when you will bring a personal story. So I'm telling you that, your speech was good, but it can become best when you do a personal story in it. So it's just a start. Don't worry. This kind of feedback will come. Slowly, you will learn. As you will practice more and more, you will improve. And don't use paper in the next speech. Internalize your speech. This is my challenge to you. Over? Okay? So over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kareem. I forgot to mention the word of the day. Especially the tabletop speakers are expected to use it, but that's not limited to tabletop speakers. Everyone else should be using it. Someday I will give a speech on why I believe English is a strange language. The word of the day was plethora. The word has O in it, but that O is not pronounced as O. It is pronounced as a soft E. So English is strange. In Karachi Toastmasters, we do not evaluate the evaluations, but I'll summarize by saying that all 6 evaluations included what they liked about the speech, and all 6 evaluations had concrete examples of how to improve their speeches. All Toastmaster clubs include speech evaluations, but very few Toastmaster clubs around the world include evaluation of table topic speeches. Karachi Toastmasters is one of the few examples. At this time, I'm going to ask Toastmaster Imran Rana, who is our table topics evaluator, to please, somebody else?
Yeah, actually, let me, okay, it was changed.
Oh.
I believe
Let me know if
it's
everyone
Toastmaster
qualified, so
Mufaddal.
I can close the poll.
Yeah, it's Toastmaster Mufaddal.
Okay. Before we call upon the table topics evaluator, please vote for the best evaluator, the person who, in your opinion, gave the best evaluation. And I assume all qualified from time point of view.
I exceeded my time by 4 seconds. So once again, I leave myself at the mercy of the vote counter.
Yeah, I would say just include everyone, because since she was one of the evaluators and you went over 4 seconds, it won't look nice if she says, no, we cannot include you.
Oh, good point, sir.
So
I love
all,
that.
so all are qualified.
Okay, I'll include everyone.
Yes, thank you. And now please welcome Toastmaster Mufaddal Murtaza to present evaluations of the table topic speeches.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator, for the opportunity. DTM Samir brought amazing table topics by giving statements or by giving dialogues from the movies, from the old movies, to every speaker. The first speaker was DTM Sarfaraz. The topic was ears looking at your kid. The way he started was wonderful. He directly caught our attention by stating his own story, that he was looking at the mirror. He started to recall his old days, looking at the oceans and looking at the Indian Ocean. And then he beautifully related this whole thing with that what lies ahead, this ocean, what are the lessons which we would be taking. Not only this, he also added that we all want to be kid again. We all want to go again. That was really mesmerizing. So, I really like the voice modulation. He kept increasing his tone and lowering it down to keep our attention. Just one thing, I've seen him using stage a lot, but this time he was sitting, giving up his speech. So I guess if there would have been body movement, hand gestures, it would have added more impact to that. The second one was TM Irfan, a fight for love and glory. He started with the academics, beautifully stating love is a fallacy or love is a reality. He added a year to his speech that he spoke that I would be speaking slowly, otherwise his wife would hear or his kids would hear. I really like that. And then he related the life and the movies with realities, that most of the movies, they end up with happy ending, but the reality is not like that. I really liked his body movement, his hand gestures were all up to the mark. Then we had TM Kadir Ansari. The topic was go ahead, do me a. He started very wonderfully. He came on the stage. He opened his body movement was really nice. And then he talked about the topic in a way that what we should be doing about helping others. And whenever we are watching someone in problem, we should be keeping ourselves into their shoes. And then we should be helping themselves. So that was a wonderful message I got from his table topic speech. Then it was TM Zara. The topic was there is no place like home. She just got it in the very start, and he talked about why the family is really important and why is it so important to have family members. And then he shifted herself to a topic where he talked about a book stating some statement from Robin Sharma, and he said that she said that what was the takeaway from the book. Uh, she had a very smooth ending, and she did her table topic wonderful. Then we had DTM Zishan. The topic was today I consider myself the luckiest man on the earth. Great start with the statement that life is where the life will be taking us. I really liked the speech. It was not a table topic, but I felt it was a motivational speech for all of us. I really liked the way he talked, the way he was moving here and there, the voice modulation, the hand gestures, the body movement, everything was perfect. So kudos to you. I really like your table topic. Then we had TM Daniel. The topic was, well, nobody is perfect. And he really started, well, that he stated a very simple statement, but it was really true that he said that perfection is illusion. I really like that statement. And then he talked about that nobody is perfect. We should be prioritizing ourselves, our lives, and bring joys to life by by making priorities and making things which are really important to us and giving importance to that. The body language was really great. He walked up, he was moving his hands, and a bit of voice modulation would have added more impact to his speech. Then in the end, we had TM Mariam. I'll be back. And I guess that was the happy ending for the table topic session. She really did the impromptu speaking where the topic was given, I'll be back, and she accepted it so joyfully that she wanted to speak something that she had been absent in Karachi Toastmasters meeting like me since many weeks. So she gave her excuse that she had been busy, but she related the topic with that. And I really like the idea that she'll be back and she is here for the support, and it was done wonderfully. That's all from my side. Over to you, General Level.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mufaddal, for that detailed evaluation of the table topic speeches. Now I'm going to ask the reports from our facilitators or helpers. Our grammarian and word master was Toastmaster TBD.
Oh, sorry. That was, yeah, it remained TBD. Trust me, it's not a version of ChatGPT. It's a human, Toastmaster Umair. He was bestowed with this title as soon as he walked into the meeting. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay, please welcome Toastmaster TBD Umair.
Thank you so much. I was the grammarian and the word master. The word of the day was plethora. I didn't know how to pronounce first. Now I just heard about it through my phone. It's plethora, not plethora. So there are plenty of people who used it. Talha bin Hamid two times. Asghar one time, Rabia one time, Kadir one time, Zara one time, Zishan 2 times, and Daniel 1 time. That's amazing. Secondly, there are some sentences that I had jotted down, and I want to just say, give my opinion that it could have been made better. Someone said that we want to be good friends. We want to be a good friend. When I was in a teenager life, it could have been when I was a teenager. The other was, they can't be the sympathy. They can't have a sympathy. And the other is, they can't think. What I wrote? Forget it. we had an amazing time. It could be we had an amazing time. The last one could be number page. Okay. Two years now. It could be 2 years from now. So there are quite lots of sentences. It could take a lot of time now. So here are some of them. So I think we should be very importantly, we should be concentrating on tenses more often, because we are not strict to one tense. Sometimes we go to past tense, then sometimes present tense, then sometimes. So it just makes no sense of this speech. So it is very much better to stick to a tense. Very simple is to stick to a simple tense. So it is more easier for the speaker to give its idea floating to the people who are listening to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you for that report. We also had a listener. In Toastmasters, we talk a lot about improving our speaking skills, but we also get a chance to improve our listening skills, especially when you are an evaluator. You have to listen so that you can provide evaluation of the speech. And it keeps you from having your mind wander off. I remember several years ago, I was in a Toastmasters meeting, sitting in the middle of the room. A speaker was introduced, and he began giving a speech. I was thinking of something else. Halfway through his speech, I realized that I had not been listening to his speech, and I was supposed to evaluate his speech. And that brought me back, hey, I need to be listening to this. So in our case of KTC meetings, we have a listener who listens to what the speaker said, what happened during the meeting, and will ask questions to ensure that we were paying attention. Our listener was none other than Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar. Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar.
Thank you, Journal Evaluator. To begin from not the beginning, according to DTM Sarfaraz Nazir, which alphabet is creating a rendering problem or creating obstacle in our ways to properly pronounce the word Pelitra?
Yes.
Okay, let me repeat. According to DTM Sarfaraz, how can we pronounce the word Pelithora?
Plethora. Plethora.
Plethora.
Plethora.
Plethora. Oh, thank you. Okay. Who mentioned a Robin Sharma book, Who Will Cry When You Die? Okay. Who said ocean represents knowledge? Someone said?
Ocean represents. No.
DTM Sarfaraz during table topic session. And let me ask you about two sentences. Someone used them in his speech. Every life task need to be planned well. And then he said, we need to award ourselves.
Faizan.
Yes, Faizan. And let me provide 2 or 3 sentences, and I'm going to ask you the speaker. Churn out ream of data, and then he said blink of an eye, and then he said machine is as good as process.
Atif Sattar. Toastmaster Atif Sattar.
I think that's it.
Yeah, yes, correct. Now I'm going to provide you one sentence and asking you about the speaker. He said, reminder help us to create habit. Okay. And The last one, someone who seemed to operate of his wife and children, but not as mother-in-law.
That is that was wife and children. That was Toastmaster Kareem. No.
Irfan Farooqi.
Oh yes, Toastmaster Irfan Farooqi. Yes.
Okay, this is the end from my side. Over to you, Journal Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar. That concludes the facilitator reports. Vote will be floated. Please vote for your best facilitator. This concludes our general evaluation section of the meeting. At this time, it is my honor to hand the control of the meeting back to our presiding officer, DTM Talha bin Hamid.
Sir, won't you evaluate the meeting in general?
Okay. As the counter, we had an counter to TM Faizan.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much, Papa. Today I prepared.
Can't see him.
I cannot evaluate myself. And first one is Atif Sardar. He said more than 10 times. And so 5 times, but 2 times, repeat words 6 times. And second one, Asghar, he used 3 times, so 2 times. And third one is Raja Zisha, who used 4 times, so 2 times, but 1 time, and he repeated word unfit. Kareem used 3 times, so 5 times, but 6 times, and repeat supportive. Salman Ejaz used 4 times, so 3 times, and 3 times. And we move on table topic. And Sarfraz used so 1 time, Irfan used so 2 times, and Kadir Ansari used 2 times, and used and 3 times. And Zehra used 2 times, so 3 times, and Jar 2 times. And Daniel Tariq used 2 times, so 1 times, and repeated word, I think, used multiple times. Sishan used but 1 time, and Mariam used but 2 times. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Faizan, for your report. Our technical host was DTM Talha bin Hamid, and he's already given his report when he apologized for why sometimes we were muted, sometimes we were unmuted, sometimes we couldn't see the speaker. But great job as a technical host. That was part of my general evaluation. The meeting was once again great, even though we did not have 10, but 6 is not bad. 6 speakers giving 5 to 7 minute prepared speeches. Since I attend meetings of several other clubs, some clubs have 0 speakers or at the most 1 speaker, but 6 is great. We mentioned about the time. The times are written on the agenda, but those are, I guess, generic times. We don't adjust them based on the number of speeches or the length of the speeches. So if we finish the meeting within 3 hours, that's a success. 6 speeches, 6 evaluations, and 6 or so table topics. Table topic session was great. And I say great because the table topics masters use the theme of the meeting. Even though that's not a requirement, there's no rule in Toastmasters International says that the master must use the theme, but you expect them to. If you have a theme of the meeting, then the topics should be related to the theme, and most of the time, table topics masters fail to do that. This was great that our topics related to movies. And also, our Toastmaster Day did a great job in mentioning the theme throughout the meeting. That was great. What I liked about our meeting today that there were few times where speakers got interrupted or distracted, but they kept on going. They finished the task at hand, and that's great, whether they were online or in person, that we don't let interruptions stop us from completing our role or our task or our speeches. So that concludes my general evaluation of the meeting. As always, when you have good speeches, good table topics, and our
the task at hand.
What I like also about a meeting is our people are anxious. Members are anxious to participate in table topics. I've seen in some meetings people turn off their videos when table topic session comes along, and then they're there, but they're not there because they don't want. And then after the table talk session is out, they turn their cameras back on. If it's an in-person meeting, when the table topics master comes in front, they start looking down, not making eye contact. So if you are ever in such a situation and you're the table talks master, always pick on someone who's not making eye contact and try to look down. Great meeting. Look forward to the next meeting of KTC. Back to you, presiding officer.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Sarfraz. And yes, one thing that you were too polite not to mention was that we started quite a bit late, much later than usual. And this is one of the main reasons. I did adjust the agenda according to the number of speeches, but all that goes out the window when you are half an hour starting late. So thank you so much for that. And Toastmaster Rabia, if you can please float the poll for the best Big Four. And in the meantime,
I don't want to, because people are not voting. I have only 3 responses for facilitator.
oh my God, please don't do that, everyone.
Yes.
Everyone, please vote and let me quickly go through the rest of the movies. And as I said, in my opinion, classic movies are not just related to an era. They are classic movies, as Toastmaster Daniel pointed out. They don't have to belong to the black and white era or the golden era. Star Wars was one movie. In fact, I've watched the original trilogy, or what has now become the sequel trilogy, and the prequel. I did watch the prequel trilogy. I do find this whole series slightly overrated, honestly speaking, because it's a mixture of a blatant mixture of Westerns and Eastern Japanese manga stories and Western stories. And it's all a bit of a mishmash, but at the same time, it has its great moments. And it was one of the pioneering movies. It basically pioneered, along with Jaws, it was one of the first first wave of movies to pioneer the category of the summer blockbuster. And it gave rise to countless other science fiction movies, which pay tribute to Star Wars to this day. And it is filled with dialogues. The whole series is filled with dialogues. But if I were to recall one, it is one dialogue that is present in every Star Wars movie. And that is, I've got a bad feeling about this. So whenever they're heading into some trouble, or they sense that some trouble is brewing, they say, I've got a bad feeling about this. Then we have Saving Private Ryan. That was a late 90s movie. It is considered to be an all-time classic, although it is quite melodramatic in typical Spielbergian fashion, but it touches your heart. Somehow it manages to do that, even though you could see how it is being used to push your emotional buttons. And then, one of my favorite movies of all time and cruelly underrated, Interstellar. It is perhaps the best sci-fi movie that I have ever seen. It has got the most unique story I have ever seen on screen. It has emotions, it has quantum physics, it has time travel, it has relativity, it has everything. And it has a deep bond with its characters. It is defined by its characters and the bond between them, despite all those hard science fiction themes. I especially admire this movie because for the first time, and perhaps for the only time, I've seen someone put really advanced concepts of science, quantum physics, and relativity on the screen like that. I haven't seen such an attempt elsewhere. And its most famous line is its opening line, which essentially gives the movie away. It is the very first line when the daughter, when a little girl is actually scared when in the morning when a father enters the room. And she is haunted by some visions. She's seeing some things in the movement of the sand. The world is ending, it's losing its crops to dust storms. So there's dust everywhere. And she's seeing patterns in dust. And everyone else is denying that, she's just seeing things. But she says it's a ghost that actually is moving through the dust. And when she's scared into wakefulness by her father, when he walks into the room, she says to him, I thought you were the ghost. And it may not sound very dramatic or substantial, but do watch the movie and you will see why I say that this is one of the most important lines in movie history. So with that, we move on to our last movie. Everyone, please vote. Otherwise, there are thousands of classic movies. So yeah, from the animated category, yes, there are countless. Disney has a plethora of them, from Snow White to Fantasia to Lion King. But I choose this because this is, first of all, technically a Disney movie because Pixar is owned by Disney. But more importantly, it is unlike any movie I've ever seen. Not unlike any animated movie, unlike any movie I've ever seen. It is a totally unique tale. It has superb animation and dialogue. It is filled with memorable dialogues, and they're so memorable that I can't recall anyone right now. So that brings us to the end of our theme. And Toastmaster Rabia, have you got the results?
Only 4 people have voted for the big 4, and
Well,
I cannot
punish them.
get a result.
Well, punish them and announce the result.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let me announce the result. The best prepared speaker today, it was a very close competition, but our best speaker for today is Toastmaster Faizan Zafar.
Oh, congratulations.
Do you want me to tell the top 3?
No, you just tell the winners.
Yes. And the best table topics speaker today was DTM Zishan Abid.
Oh, congratulations.
Best evaluator for today is DTM Sarfaraz.
Congratulations.
And I cannot give the poll for best facilitator because it's a 3-way tie, and
Break
I'm
it,
also
break it.
I cannot. I'm one of the person in it. I
right.
don't want to.
Right.
So it's a 3-way tie between our counter Toastmaster Faizan, grammarian Toastmaster Umair, and myself. And I would really like to appreciate that all the facilitators were given votes today. So that's great. Job well done, everyone.
That's a job well done. Yes.
Yes.
So
And
all
now
are
we come.
winners.
Yes. And now we come to our best big 4. And no surprises there. DTM Talha.
Oh, thank you so much. Although I believe that it is slightly unfair with the table topic session that DTM Samir did and the evaluation that Mufaddal did and the GE session that DTM Surprise did. I certainly don't deserve this, but thank you anyway. And I'll announce the Critics' Choice Award. I'll just announce the top 2 today because we had only 6 speeches. Usually we announce top 3. The Critics' Choice Awards are, by the way, the speeches evaluated according to the International Speech Contest ballot. So the second place goes to Toastmaster Kareem Meghani. Congratulations. I wish this were the International Speech Contest, so I could say you have qualified for a year contest, but you already have. So, and the winner of the day is Toastmaster Mohammad Asghar. Congratulations. And with this, finally, the meeting comes to a close. Thank you everyone for your patience with the technical glitches, with the delays, and with everything that went down today. And we wish you the best of everything. Please register for the next meeting, everyone. I'm seeing certain members who are coming to meetings, but they don't register beforehand. I know the reason behind that is that they are not 100% confident that they would be in the meeting, but I'll urge everyone to register. It's better to register, and then, even if you can't make it, we can have a replacement rather than having a TBD. So, so thank you so much, everyone, and see you all next Wednesday.